Game companies' pursuit to keep adding new monetization tactics continues, and among the most hated of those tactics is in-game ads. This is something that companies have been trying to pursue for a while to no avail. People have pushed back harshly enough that it's never really been implemented en masse. So Street Fighter V, for example, back in the day, it was panned for including in-game advertisements. Then there's the whole situation with NBA 2K. NBA 2K19 is treating loading screens as ad space now, and this is something that garnered a lot of backlash. Here's what that looks like for those who weren't there for this, where they promoted things like Snowfall on Fox. This is a situation that went pretty viral and was covered en masse. Here's a Reddit user who said unskippable ads in a $60 game. Fuck you, 2K. This garnered over 15,000 upvotes. And the following year, NBA 2K received backlash yet again because the unskippable ads returned, and there were reports of situations like these potentially causing loading screens to be longer because they want ads to finish. So even if the game loads before the ad ends, you can't skip them. You have to wait until the whole ad plays out before you can proceed to the game. So it's an artificial extending of loading screens just for the sake of ads. And then most recently, Xbox and Call of Duty faced some backlash because during the marketing campaign of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Xbox made it so that when you boot up your console, this ad for Modern Warfare 3 would pop up. And yes, it's not the biggest deal in the world. You can easily hit exit. It takes like 2 seconds, but it's still disruptive. Generally, this is just not something that was received favorably, and people would ultimately prefer that something like this didn't happen, where you do have to go out of your way to close an ad where they kind of shove this in your face, and it does briefly kind of interrupt what you're doing. The only way in-game ads might be acceptable is if it's like a free-to-play experience where the ads might pay for that experience, because free things have to, monetize itself somehow. But even then, there are lines. You don't want to get too disruptive with it. But when you're talking about full-paid, full-priced products like a whole console or games that are AAA premium price and have other monetization tactics, the inclusion of in-game ads is just unacceptable. Which is why Ubisoft recently got a whole lot of backlash when people had this experience where while playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, they got this in-game pop-up ad for Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is going on sale or something on Black Friday, and Ubisoft wanted to promote this, and they started to see ads for this mid-game. So this is what that looks like. This is a Reddit user who posted their footage of this to show that this is real. So they bring up the map, and the first thing that appears is Assassin's Creed Mirage being 20% off for Black Friday, and there's a prompt to buy now or to close this pop-up ad. The user closes this pop-up ad, and then they can access the map. This is kind of like the worst case scenario of in-game ads where they're shoved into gameplay to pop up disruptively. We're not even talking about loading screens here. It's when you want to access the map, which is something that you do quite often in an open world game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And going through the responses of this Reddit thread, you can see how people feel about this. The top response here reads, "Yeah, this kind of shit should be considered unacceptable." And I don't disagree. On social media, this situation went pretty viral. For example, here's a tweet from PC Focus that reads, "Ubisoft now interrupts gameplay with pop-up ads. WTF?" This garnered over 18,000 likes and over 9.6 million views. And scrolling through the comments section, people are pretty disappointed. There are others who are speculating that this might be a potential reason for why publishers are pushing for things to be online only, so they can push ads and everyone has to see them, whereas if consoles were disconnected, this kind of stuff wouldn't be able to be pushed. And then here's one more tweet from a content creator who tweeted, "Paying $70 for a AAA game with pop-up ads is actually revolting. That's some free-to-play mobile game energy right there. Ubisoft, the fuck are you all on?" Here's another even more viral tweet that expressed similar sentiments. "You hit me with an ad in the middle of a $70 game I bought, and I'm uninstalling real quick." This garnered over 81,000 likes and over 4 million views. AAA games aren't even just $60 anymore. They're now $70. And for us to be able to expect the possibility of in-game ads in something we paid $70 for, which also likely includes other forms of microtransactions, it's just ridiculous. Now, I'm in the fortunate position of being able to be in a platform where I can provide content for free, and every once in a while, a sponsor will help support the channel. And today, the sponsor will actually help you save money and keep track of your finances in a non-disruptive way. Which brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Rocket Money, an all-in-one finance platform whose goal is to help you save more and spend less. For someone like me who has quite a few subscriptions and bills to manage and might not always be able to keep track of them, this app comes quite handy, making it easy to manage subscriptions, lower bills, build a custom budget, and grow your savings, all in one convenient and accessible place. With how easy the app makes it to take a look at and cancel subscriptions, you'll always have an awareness of what companies are charging you and will never have to bother with any annoying processes for cancellations, as they are just one tap away. As far as bills go, you can upload pictures of your bills to Rocket Money, and they'll actually try to negotiate lower rates and bills for you in case companies are overcharging you for, say, internet, cable, and phone. You can even set budgets on Rocket Money, with the app notifying you when those budgets are exceeded, as well as monitor your credit score. And for those conscientious about savings, a smart savings function allows the app to automatically deposit savings into a smart savings account, with you being able to control the amount and frequency and being able to withdraw from it at any time. And on top of all that, the app has the ability to give you a clear picture of what your net worth is, which will allow you to manage your finances even better. There's a reason why over 5 million people are using this app. It's a great all-in-one solution for finance management. You can get started for free by using my link, rocketmoney.com/yongya, and you can unlock even more features and functionalities with premium. That's rocketmoney.com/yongya to get started for free. Anyway, back to the news at hand. This whole situation surrounding this in-game ad that popped up when bringing up the map in Assassin's Creed Odyssey went viral enough that Ubisoft was forced to respond, and their response was that this was not done on purpose, but rather it was a technical error on their part. When news outlet The Verge reached out, this is the statement that they were provided: "We have been made aware that some players encountered pop-up ads while playing certain Assassin's Creed titles yesterday. This was the result of a technical error that we addressed as soon as we learned of the issue." Now, a lot of people weren't buying this. This function seemed very specifically placed, and for this to be a technical error, I mean, it's got to be a series of really unfortunate accidents that led someone to accidentally program this thing into the game at the perfect spot when bringing up the map, to come out with a statement as vague as "it was a technical issue, whoopsie daisies, anyway, back to your daily gameplay." That was just not a good statement to put out. So eventually, they decided to put out a more extensive statement where they added a bit more context. So the Assassin's Creed official Twitter page posted the following: "We have been made aware that some players encountered a pop-up message in-game while playing certain Assassin's Creed titles yesterday. This was the result of a technical error that has now been fixed. Our intention was to display a promotion for Assassin's Creed Mirage as part of the franchise news in the main menu of other Assassin's Creed games. Unfortunately, this technical error caused the promotion to appear in one of our in-game menus instead. We want to ensure the best player experience possible, and these disruptive pop-ups were promptly removed once we learned of the issue. We appreciate your understanding, yada, yada, yada." Now, despite this extra bit of additional context, people were just not buying it, whether it's the truth or not. So, for example, if you look at the comment section here, "In other words," says this tweet, and this is, of course, a sarcastic quote on their part, "We took your feedback. Our data shows that our players will not tolerate this. We will not push this on you at this point in time." Here's somebody else with a similarly sarcastic quote: "Guys, since you're so mad about us trying to pull this sneaky on you, it was an accident. Unless." Looking at responses to tweets that other journalists and websites put out there about this whole situation, once again, people en masse are generally not buying it. With technical error, they probably mean testing the waters to see how players will react and if we can get away with it, is the perception of all this. Here's Insider Gaming, and when they talked about how Ubisoft blames technical error for Assassin's Creed in-game pop-ups, the general vibe is people saying, yeah, sure, technical error. Now, me personally, I'm not going to definitively say one thing or another. On one hand, I have to wonder how, given the complexities of making a video game, a function so specific where a pop-up appears after you bring up the map can be implemented so perfectly by mistake. But on the other hand, given the complexities of making a game, we've seen crazier things happen, and so maybe it is possible that a technical error caused the pop-up ad to display in the wrong place. But the fact that such an implementation was even teased, even if we are to believe that this was by error, is kind of scary because of how well it worked and how disruptive it was, and how it might give publishers and developers ideas for future monetization schemes. And so at the very least, it's good to see that people are calling this out so hard that it's probably going to make publishers and developers scared to implement something like this. And the fact that the Assassin's Creed Twitter page, the fact that Ubisoft had to officially come out with an extensive statement trying to do some PR damage control, the fact that Ubisoft and the Assassin's Creed developers had to scramble so fast to put out this message and let people know this was a technical issue, we swear, tells us that this is definitely not something that they're intending to normalize anytime soon, realizing that the backlash would be intense enough that it's just not worth the PR damage that it would do. It'd be too much of a liability, which is why seeing such a mass pushback against this, whether this was a technical error or not, is good to see, as it sends a very clear message. But at the same time, it's worth noting that in the community notes, somebody pointed out that this technical error was already in Assassin's Creed Odyssey 4 years ago and could also appear when opening the map. Here's a content creator by the name of Bugland who tweeted the following: memory from 4 years ago and no one talked about it at the time. Now, this post is from November 24th, 2023, and looking at the video, you can see that this exact thing happened to this individual, but the full video where this is from is in fact from 4 years ago, and you can see right here that as this individual brings up the menu and the map, this pop-up did in fact appear. This is also Bugland, so it shows that this isn't the first time that something like this has happened. So the assumption that people are making is that the game was on some level primed for this kind of feature in case Ubisoft decided to get sneaky with it and implement this. And if it was a technical error, well, the technical error was maybe accidentally flipping the switch on this thing that was already primed, and then they had to turn it off when they realized how bad the backlash was. The fact that this possibility exists and is so easy for Ubisoft to be able to turn this thing on is disconcerting, and it just makes people believe that Ubisoft had some kind of intention to potentially pull the trigger on this thing, though hopefully the backlash here proved to the games industry that they're likely not going to be able to get away with this. I don't think publishers and developers will deem this a worthwhile endeavor, but you never know. That's the thing. You can never drop your guard on this kind of stuff, because microtransactions and loot box mechanics and stuff that were thought to be impossible to be normalized, that because they were so egregious many years ago, are now normal. And ads, that's something that we may slowly see be trickled into games. And eventually, over the course of years, with developers and publishers inchworming their way towards implementing these more commonly, they may very well become normalized, which is something that I hope won't happen, which is why being vocal early is important. So hopefully things will stay this way, where companies have to excuse this as a technical error, instead of finding ourselves in a situation in the future where stuff like this becomes commonplace and where developers and publishers become comfortable doing stuff like this in fully priced AAA games that are already monetized to hell and back. Or at the very least, that's one man's take on all of this. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on this sudden appearance of an in-game pop-up ad for Assassin's Creed Mirage when opening up the map in, say, Assassin's Creed Odyssey and other Assassin's Creed games. Do you think this was a technical error? And do you think stuff like this will be normalized in the future? Or do you think the pushback we're seeing will be enough to convince publishers and developers that this is ultimately a bad idea? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.